Good vibes and good music right now. I'm loving it. And into the wine cellar hatch. Oh, hell no, girl. No. No.
Nobody is down there.
That is so freaky. Oh my god. If this were me in this situation, I would be like out of the house. I would be running because I would be so fucking scared. Oh, hell no. Hey guys, it's Katie and welcome back to The Letter. In the last episode, we had lunch with Becca and Zach, and we kind of had to give Zach a little pep talk of not to, throw away his dreams. And, just because like a few people made some negative reviews on his movie, it doesn't mean that he should just like give up on them. He should keep trying. As soon as we left for lunch, Isabella looked at one of the shop windows. We seen that the girl was following us. The ghost is like calling for help. I don't really know what she wants yet, but we're still getting into the story and all that. Becca and Zach try to help Isabella, and Isabella just like runs off and like goes home. Then we get a phone call from Ashton, and he's pretty much like reminding us that we have to go meet up with the professor to talk about the mansion and the letter and all that. So the next morning he picks us up, we go and meet with the professor, and the professor kind of gives us a little insight on a few things. Like for one, he mentions that his colleague was investigating the mansion and then he suddenly died. So that makes me a little curious as to like, did he go inside the mansion? Did he get a letter like Isabella? Like how is this pattern happening here? Then Ash takes us out for ice cream, and he takes us to the park, and he gives Isabella a little charm gift, and she gives him a kiss on the cheek, which was so cute, by the way. I'm gonna be getting them together for this playthrough, I just know it. We then run into Marianne and we talk about her job for a little bit because I'm trying to get as much information as I can on the mansion and the letter and the ghost. But she didn't really tell us anything, so I was kind of disappointed in that. We go home, we make some dinner. Then a news report comes on saying that a woman has been murdered in her flat, and it turns out that it was Rose, and that completely shocked me. I did not think Rose was gonna die. I mean, we didn't show her the letter, so I'm trying to still figure that out. Like, how did she end up dying? That's why I'm thinking, like, maybe there's multiple letters. I mean, when we went to Isabella's office, there were help me papers being printed. So what if that happened to Rose? Like, what if she got a help me letter at work or something like that? So we go to work, and we end up finding out that there are all the people that worked on the mansion, all the crew, like maybe the cleaning crew and maybe other people that were there, are also missing. So just as Isabella's about to leave, a printer starts like strewing pages on the ground, which I was just talking about. The help me letter is being like copied, and then the ghost shows up, and we have to do a quick time event to get away from her again. But that's the thing though. Isabella's chapter abruptly ends as we just finished the quick time event to get away from her, but we're hiding underneath our desk. Like, is someone gonna come help Isabella? Like, what's gonna happen to her? So then we transition into Hannah's chapter. Luke and Hannah go home after the open house, and Hannah's feeling a little sick. She's throwing up, and Luke comes in to comfort her. And now we're on the day where they are moving in. Everyone's working in the house. Marianne's there. So let's continue where we left off. Alone as per usual. I really should be used to it by now. I can feel the minutes tick by with me just lying there, feeling miserable and full of self-pity. Whoa. God, every sound in this game just makes me jump. I have rolled over to lie on my stomach at this point, with my face buried into the pillows, and then there's a knock at the door. Grumbling at them to go away doesn't work as a voice comes from the other side.
Madam, the photographer from Luxury Living is here.
Wait, is that today? Oh yes. People had caught wind of our new mansion the very moment we left the open house. Luke had boasted that he could acquire the property in no time and allowed a photo shoot for an interior design magazine to be scheduled today. Well, there were complications, and it took longer than it usually does for us.
In a minute, Hansi.
Your Highness, if you could at least make it through the end.
Hansi.
Tell them I'll be right down, Hansi.
October 26th, Wednesday, the Ermengarde Mansion afternoon. The mansion grounds has been one of the first things to be fixed up, aside from the bedroom. Although it's still a work in progress, it had a promising start, and I can already see the flower patches. Luke's favored daffodils stand out easily, having been transplanted from the pots that used to litter the rooftop of our penthouse. Why, if the moving crew thought that Luke was being hard on them, they clearly didn't see the landscaper on his way out. The man looked like he was ready to faint, and Luke seemed ready to kill him by the end of their discussion. It is in the gardens that I see him standing near the flowers in quiet admiration. He is hard to miss, the hunk of a man that clearly did not belong, and the big backpack and suitcase he has with him makes him look much larger. It is a peculiar sight, seeing someone who looks like he does handling little delicate things with such care. He looks up from the gardens and does a double take before a friendly face replaces his serene expression.
Miss Wright, yeah? Hi, Zachary Steele here from Luxury Living, ma'am. Hope you weren't waiting too long. But it looks like you're still moving in, huh? Thought for a second there my calendar was wrong and I came here too early.
Good vibes and good music right now. I'm loving it. I need to do a recording of this audio. Just have it sit and record each part. That's what I'm gonna do, and then maybe I'll post it up to the channel under the playlist so you guys can listen to it, as long as I don't get copyrighted. So
The one and only. Welcome to Maison de Right. And yes, we've been in the process of moving in as we were delayed, but it won't be a problem. They're just adding a few things here and there, and you should still be able to do your work. Where's the rest of your crew then, Mr. Steele?
Zach is fine, please. Mr. Steele makes me feel like I'm a mascot for a cleaning product. Anyway, I'll be your one-man crew for today. Don't worry, been doing this gig for a while now.
You must be quite the veteran to handle this on your own. We've had a full crew coming into our penthouse the last time we were covered in your magazine.
Veteran? Oh, your words are too kind, Miss Wright.
Oh, he's blushing.
Hannah! If I get to call you Zach, you have my permission to call me Hannah.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then, man.
Anyway, I'm no veteran, but I know my camera well enough to make sure this is a good shoot. You can trust me on that, Miss Wright. Hannah.
Achievement unlocked. Monsieur le photographe. Hold on, let me, did journal update? Oh no, I guess not. Okay. Zachary proves quickly enough that I can, in fact, trust him. His skills with the camera and experience in this industry, at the very least. He is kind and courteous, listening and following as I lead him around the house. A really nice fellow, and he treats our household staff well whenever we cross paths with them. I answer his questions to the best of my ability, and he is patient enough to answer mine whenever I get curious enough. For one, I ask what the bags are for. They are quite the magician's toolkit. From inside, he has procured several items to embellish the interior with. Bowls of fruits, lemons, trays with pepper mills, stacks of cookbooks, cutting boards and glass canisters filled with colorful nuts and grains are brought in for a kitchen setting. For the bathroom, there are white towels, seashells, and decorative soaps. There are other things as well, too numerous to count, all in that large backpack and suitcase.
Tricks of the trade. Softens up a room, makes a place feel more homey, and fills it up with texture. But you guys probably have better stuff I can use for this.
No lights. Don't tell me all of these are just props.
Well, I've got my tripod here. For things like these, natural light is best. I'll just have to set the shutter speed to a real slow setting, and as long as nobody steps into the shot, it'll look great.
Oh, it better.
We go through the rooms, one at a time, although we first tackle the ones that the movers have no business in anymore. Ooh, mansion ballroom. The ballroom needs a little preparation with its grand design. Although there is some trouble at first, with the wide open space and the pictures being backlit. Mansion kitchen. It is in the kitchen that Zachary's props come in handy. Considering how Johannes kept the place so neat and sterile, one can practically eat off the floor. Mansion bedroom. We carry on touring the house and taking pictures where we can, with exception to the rooms which have yet to gain any purpose or design. Too bad I can't take a sneak peek at his photos yet. Funnily enough, he is using a traditional camera. I didn't even know film still existed. With the way he speaks, however, I can see he knows enough about his craft that I'm not too worried about botched photographs. Mansion foyer. I imagine photography must be cathartic for him, judging by how at ease he looks while taking pictures. There are small snippets of conversation in between the clicking of the camera. He even goes far as to talk about these terminologies like shutter speeds and aperture when I ask about the technical aspects. Yeah, I actually took photography in high school, so I did get to develop film in a darkroom, and it was actually very interesting. I really loved that class. And then in college, I took interior design, which is kind of ironic for this game because Marianne is an interior designer. I learned how to like draft floor plans and stuff like that. And then I took art at a university for like a year. So yeah, artist kind of here. I can't quite see the picture as it is made, much like when I watch artists paint on their canvas. But just watching someone passionately practicing their craft such as this is exciting in its own way. Going through the many rooms has been quite the exercise for the both of us. Despite that, he has been so nice, and I find myself putting on my best smile. But it is as we're taking pictures in the foyer that everything comes to a standstill for a moment. Just a moment. And had I not been paying attention, I wouldn't have even noticed. It is merely a split second when Zachary's rhythm is put to a halt. Dude, why is she like clinging onto Hannah like that? His finger doesn't move to release the shutter. Yet he also doesn't pull the camera away from his face, gaze still firmly fixed through the viewfinder. His hands shake and there is a light sheen of sweat on his forehead. Dude, why is she twitching like that?
Zachary?
No response.
Zach, is something the matter?
Dude, her voice is so creepy. Stop that. Lowering his camera, he blinks and stares at something behind me for shaking his head. Turning around, though, I see nothing that could have gotten his attention.
Oh no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something, that's all. Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
That's what I'm saying, like being Hannah and being like directly in the mansion, like, oh my god, I don't know what's gonna happen to them. I struggle to respond this time. There's a sudden weight on my back and an indescribable tightness around my throat. Everything stops. And everything starts again as I manage to choke out,
If you're sure.
I don't know what just happened. It was probably just a dizzy spell. I'm fine. And he said he's fine. We continue at the same pace as before, although there is an unspoken agreement that we will not talk about what happened.
So, is this a full-time job for
Mansion
you
dining hall.
Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job. It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least, not all the time.
What is it that you want to do then?
Maybe I've been out of line, sticking my nose into other people's business, but I can't help but ask. I regret doing so as I see his shoulders slump and the easygoing air he has fades away. He looks torn over whether he wants to talk about it or not.
Films. Documentaries mostly. But cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
What thing?
Well, it wasn't really a big thing. People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
Blue Fonzie.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
Very funny.
So, Grand Director, do you want to tell me what Blue Fonzie is all about?
He hesitates. But when I refuse to budge on the matter, he gives in and spills it all out. Blue Fonzie. L'heure la plus sombre nes nois Britanniques. Dark blue, the dark hours of the Black British. He speaks with passion of one who has gone through the very matter he is concerned with. There is conviction, knowledge, and experience in his speech. Why, I would have told him that he is an amazing speaker, if only I wasn't so engrossed listening. Prejudice and discrimination, in schools and in the workplace. Lesser chances for opportunity and higher chances of being treated like a criminal. He spoke of blacks, and people of color in general, still being treated like second-class citizens. All because of the color of their skin. It is all just positively riveting. And sad. It comes to a point wherein he soon loses steam. He looks abashed, realizing what he had just done.
Sorry, I just got so carried away and...
It's fine. It is really so fascinating to watch people talk about their passion after all. You should see how your eyes light up when you speak so fiercely. You do have very beautiful eyes.
Okay, Hannah.
Thanks, I guess.
I want to say that I understand where he's coming from, but I really don't, do I? I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and I've lived a charmed life. It hasn't been perfect, but the difficulties I've been through pales in comparison to what others experience on a daily basis. I certainly don't know how I would have fared if it were any different. Would I still have met Luke, and would he still have loved me if I was any lesser?
What was your home like? These things you talk about, it sounds like you've... Well, I don't mean to pry, I mean.
Live with my older sister and my grandparents. We had a shop selling all sorts of things below our flat. And well, I was one of the few non-white, non-British students in class. I didn't get pushed around or anything straight up. Even then, I was one of the biggest kids around. But a pencil and notebook would go missing, you know?
Oh, that I knew. Children can be so cruel at times. Of course, it may be a slightly different story when you have personal guards, and the stolen item is not a pencil, but an expensive heirloom.
So what about you? How you liking your new house? It's pretty impressive.
It's nice, I suppose.
You suppose? Not big enough?
What? No, oh, don't be a bully. It's just that...
I understand if you don't want to talk about it.
I was a little girl, all dolled up and treated like a fragile porcelain, with nursemaids waiting to me hand on foot. All the material possessions anyone could ever want, I could ask for on a whim, and it would be handed to me just like that. But I barely saw my parents, just goodbye kisses in the morning before they went off to who knows where they needed to be next. I saw them more often on the telly or in the papers than I ever did in person.
I remember my old house. It was a lot like this one. Big walls and big halls, but nobody in it. Not really. It makes you think how alone you are.
A pensive mood overcomes us, and there's a moment where neither of us are sure how to go on from there. Things have gotten a bit too personal, yet it isn't wholly uncomfortable, like as if we've been friends before.
Well, that's normal, ain't it? You just moved here. You'll make home out of it yet.
He certainly makes it easy to believe that. My childhood house is indeed a lot like this one, just as large and extravagant, and just as empty. I hope he's right.
So, Monsieur le Photographe, you've covered the one and only Ermengarde mansion. What's next on the agenda?
The interview?
Boring. It's an interior design and housing magazine.
And they want to know what Miss Wright has to say about her interior design and house.
Honor Wright thinks she bought a magnificent house that she can certainly brag about. Blah, blah. Boring. You know what they should print more of? I watched an interesting documentary the other day. Bleu Foncé, the darkest hours of the Black British. I recommend you watch it.
Aw, Hannah's so sweet. Like, she's trying to, like, help out, like, Zach's situation of, like, you know, with the reviews and, like, people, like, kind of downplaying what he made. Like, she's saying, like, maybe I should publish something so that people can recognize your film. That's really sweet.
Those are the things that people should know about. What do they care if I use a purple or green bowl of fruit in my kitchen?
People, right?
Oui. People are shite. What do you think? Do I look good with this angle?
I strike a pose while he's busy, looking taken aback for a moment, probably not expecting me to just go and say such a crass word. But he recovers quickly, and after snapping a few shots, he grins.
Yeah, vous êtes belle. You want copies of these ones?
Yes, please. So, the big boy knows French.
Don't call him a big boy, Hannah. Jeez.
You must have wooed a few ladies. Unless you're into gents. Either way, French is, after all, the language of romance.
Oh, I don't know about quoting fancy poetry. But I've made lunch for a girl before, and they did like that fancy French cuisine.
Can you cook your best?
What'd you say, bouillabaisse?
I can cook just about anything as long as I know the recipe.
C'est magnifique.
It has been too long since I've had a nice and proper chat with a good friend. No, Lee is certainly not a good friend. And although we've just met, Zachary is the sort who can probably befriend anyone. He's just a comfortable person to be around with. A bit too comfortable. Okay, so still the afternoon. The photo shoot went by a breeze. And somewhere along the way, as we talk and laugh, I find myself getting a bit too close without realizing. What are you doing, Hannah? He'll give me the strange look until I back off, and he'll go back to asking questions after I agree to do his little interview. And it's just odd. Well, no. Me being friendly isn't that odd. That is how I am. Zachary is the one that's being odd. Why, anyone else would be absolutely welcome the extra attention I give them. He, on the other hand, looks almost flustered about it. He should be used to different personalities by now, having to deal with various people when he works. And if not, he needs to start. Perhaps nobody has shown him attention of this kind, but he's a big boy. He should be able to handle me. All it is a friendly touch here, a pretty smile there, and gentle swaying of the hips as I move around. Zachary grew and grew more red every time he noticed. Am I being mean as I find enjoyment in seeing him unravel? Perhaps. This went on during the interview and beyond that. There's nothing wrong with what we're doing, right? Zachary and I are just having a playful, friendly chat while enjoying the outside view. At least, that's how I see it.
I'm sorry, but I'm really getting distracted.
Hannah, what are you doing?
Could you maybe stop doing that?
Stop? I'm not sure if I want to, though. I'm gonna save. Okay, so if it were me, and I'm not going by Hannah, I don't know like what she's doing exactly. Like maybe she, you know, it seems like her and Luke are the kind of people that kind of crave attention. If I'm with somebody, I'm not gonna be doing that with somebody else. It's just really unprofessional. You know, he's trying to do his job, and you're kind of making this a little awkward, and I'm just going to stop it so I don't make Zach feel uncomfortable.
I'll stop if it makes you uncomfortable, sweetie.
Alright, he liked that. I would assume he would, because he told me to stop, so...
Sorry.
No, I should be the one apologizing. Why, you're a shy one, aren't you, big guy?
It's not that, but...
He gestures to the ring on my finger and lets out the fact of the matter hang heavily between us. Being told implicitly that I am too forward is not a common occurrence. I think I'm more stunned at the fact that he pointed it out, rather than, well, being rejected. Not that anything is going to happen between us in the first place. It was just going to be some harmless flirting, right?
So, you've never had a girlfriend?
No. No boyfriend either. You know, just in case you were gonna ask for that one next.
And you haven't even had your first kiss?
Not a one, ma'am.
Aw, you're so innocent, Zach.
Do you want to have your first kiss today?
I can't help it. I really, really can't, and I'm going to apologize lots later. Surely, by the catty smile on my face, it is obvious that I'm just pulling his leg. The laugh I failed to contain certainly gives it away, if it still isn't obvious. But still, he lights up in embarrassment, stammering and sputtering objections.
You're married, and this will be extremely unprofessional.
I never said I would kiss you, silly. Oh, Johans!
No, what? No. Don't call your butler. She's Hannah.
That would be for the better. I don't think his husband would appreciate it if I made him kiss another man.
Ooh, okay.
I do not think he can hear us from here either. But it is hard to think you're not taken, Zachary. Why, whoever becomes your girlfriend will be so lucky to have you. You can cook and take wonderful photographs. Wonderful meals and wonderful memories.
I can play guitar too.
You can? Oh my. Wonderful serenades as well then. Perhaps I can find a young lady who deserves a fine, strapping young gentleman like yourself.
Let's not get carried away. Besides, I gotta be going. It's getting late and I got someplace else to be.
A shame. I will be expecting you again soon, I hope. For a copy of my photographs, yes?
Of course, I'll even deliver them personally. Just, you know, don't try to make me kiss your butler when I drop by.
As fate would have it, the very moment the words leave his mouth, Johannes comes out of the house. Judging by the slight raise of his brows, he has heard only the tail end of the sentence.
There shall be no kissing of any butlers under this roof, danke.
But you are not under a roof, are you, Hansi?
To my amusement, he takes a step back, safely placing him within the threshold of the foyer and under the roof of the house. And just as ever, he is quick to return with a sardonic reply.
I am now. As I was saying, madam, it's about time for supper. Will I be needing to set an extra place at the table?
Oh, what? No, I was just leaving, actually. So, you have a good night, Hannah. And you too, Hansi.
It was nice to meet you, Zach, honey. You have a safe trip.
He nods, and the grin on his face as we say our goodbyes is the sweetest that I have ever seen. I linger, looking out for him with his relatively tiny bicycle, backpack safely secured in the basket by the front, and suitcase hooked to the back. I watch as he went down the path back to Anselm Village, until he is nothing more than a blimp in the horizon. I cannot help the small smile on my face as I go inside for supper. Entering the dining hall causes me so much confusion. Okay, we finally get a journal update. Today's the 26th. Okay, so... Alright, this is the same day that they're moving in. Okay, wait. Yep, okay. Hannah met Zachary Steele, a freelance photography from Luxury Living, an interior design magazine. Zachary was tasked to interview Hannah to take pictures of the mansion and its new owners. What should have been a professional meeting ended up being friendly and perhaps too personal. It is dark. For a moment, I thought the electric work is not up to par, but that clearly is not the case, as every other room is bright with artificial light. Finding the light switch is a monumental task, considering the size and my unfamiliarity with the room. To make matters worse, the darkness grants the room a different atmosphere, eerie and frightening. It takes longer than I thought to find the switch, something that will have to be rectified later on. My skin starts to prickle, and there is the distinct feeling of being watched. It unsettles me, and only spurs me on in my search. And when I do open the lights, there is a hiss.
I'll turn
Oh
the
my
lights
God,
down,
Luke.
woman.
Don't scare me like that, bro. There, at the end of the hall, is my beloved husband, with his face in one hand and a glass in the other. Perhaps I can let it go if it's only one glass of wine. However, I can feel myself go livid after seeing the toxic green liquid gleam mockingly at me.
Luke, what? Are you drinking absinthe?
Ooh, absinthe.
You know what the doctor said. Absinthe, Luke. Are you actively trying to kill yourself? Because if you are, we can just hit you with a bloody car.
Honeybee, Buttercup, not too loud, please. Besides, it's Lelouch, not too strong. Just hair of the dog that bit me. Helps with the hangover, dearest.
You drank? When?
This morning, love. Don't be mad. I just needed a few drinks, having to deal with those simpletons. And maybe I had one too much. You don't see me whinging about you leaving me to handle them on my own.
I had to attend the photo shoot and interview with Luxury Living. You know that. Let's not make this about me, Luke. This is about you and your drinking problem and...
Oh, I don't know, Hannah, darling. What if my drinking problem, as you like to call it, is linked to you?
Because technically you're my husband right now, so, I mean, don't you think that reflects on our relationship and, you know, the problems that we have and everything like that?
If we think about it that way, this discussion is about you. That was pretty mean of you, leaving me alone to do all the work like that. You can't use the interview as an excuse either, honey. I was informed the moment your little interview was done. So, what was it then, What were you doing?
What's it gonna be? Should I tell him the truth or tell a little lie? Let me save. I don't know, what should I choose? I guess let's just tell him we were with Zachary. I mean, I don't know. It's not like we did anything wrong. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should say that we were tending the gardens because, like, what if, like, he's seen us, like, flirting with Zach until I told Hannah to stop it? I don't know. What would be the right answer? Let's just say I was tending the gardens.
I was just tending to the garden, sweetie.
Okay, he liked that. So, I guess he wouldn't have liked it if I said I was with Zachary, probably. So, I don't know.
You were?
For a moment, he looks skeptical. I can tell by the gleam in his eyes and the way he sits up in attention. He thinks I'm lying. But I see no point in bringing up Zachary and aggravating him. I did tend to the gardens for a bit, so it's not a complete lie. Okay, as long as it's not like a complete straight out lie, I guess. You know, like, I don't know. I'd feel weird. Situation's kind of awkward. Just a little white lie. Besides, I know how to please him. Sauntering over and circling around him, I place my fingers on his shoulders. What? He lets out a little groan before melting like butter as I massage his shoulders.
I had to make sure they didn't ruin your favorite daffodils.
Oh, that is wonderful.
I'm not sure if he means the massage or the flowers, but I'll take it. This is better than a fight.
So, Absinthe.
Just one glass. Loosh.
I suppose I can let this one go. A bit too late anyway, you've already drank half the thing. But remember your doctor's orders.
Yes, I'll try to drink less.
Try.
Hey, I'm only human. Do you want one?
No, thank you.
Supper is spent in silence with nothing but the occasional sound of silverware. A grand feast has been served, well, grander than usual anyway, most likely due to Luke's complaint of stress. A platter of native oysters for starters, and tranche of turbot with purple sprouting broccoli, lemon, capers, and anchovy sauce for mains. Ew, I'm sorry, but that looks pretty disgusting. Yuck. Ooh, to finish it all off, black tea and golden syrup sponge pudding with custard. Now that looks delicious. But when our appetites are appeased and the plates are cleared away, Luke stands, kisses me goodnight, and leaves me to stare at my half-empty cup. Lonely in the lull of night, I sit, in a house too big and too empty, foreign and unwelcoming. Even with its warm tone and homely decor, it feels cold. There is no need for tears, however. I know I can get through this like every other obstacle I have faced before. This is a minor setback in what I hope will be a long and happy life. To remind myself that this place is for Luke and for our future children fills me with renewed vigor. Besides, it looks like someone is having a cry already. The wailing is far away and muffled. Yet at the same time, it shakes me to my very core as I hear it. As if the suffering is just standing right beside me. Hearing it sends a chill down my spine and makes my skin prickle with goosebumps. Who is that? Curiosity sinks in as I follow the sorrowful sound into the kitchen. Oh my god, let's check our journal. During supper, Hannah found Luke drinking absinthe, and this caused an argument. While Hannah was angered by her husband's drinking problem, Luke was suspicious of his wife's activities, having not seen her the whole afternoon despite finishing Luxury Living's interview early. Then there was this crying woman. I am not okay with this. Like, this just does not feel right to me. And into the wine cellar hatch. Oh, hell no, girl. No. No.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
I am curious and concerned, but there is no way I am going down into a dark and humid underground. I'm not as enthusiastic as Luke, who considers himself quite the connoisseur. However, I cannot bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. If it is one of the household help, they will surely need some talking. After all, this wouldn't be the first time I've gone and found one of the maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. As professional as our staff are, they are still human. More often than not, it was either Johannes or I who calmed them down, who'd help them figure out how to go on about things. Unfortunately, I am not in high spirits right now, so I'm not as wholly benevolent. So I will... Oh my god, I'm saving. Dude, I'm just gonna call them out this time. Like, I just have a very bad feeling about this. Like, I feel like the ghost girl is just trying to trick Hannah. And, like, hold on, let me check the branching tree. What is... I need to know if something... Oh, I don't know, man. I think we should just call them out because it looks like she could probably end up dying, I think. Because these little drop-down ones, like, usually mean, like, death. So, I'm just going to call them out. I knocked 3 times. Hold on, where did that leave me on the branching tree? Oh my god! No way. I was not going to open that hatch, dude. Waiting for any sort of reply yields me no results, and I've already touched the floor hatch far too many times than what I'd like. I take a deep breath before reaching out again to whoever's inside. I've learned from experience that people respond better to kindness than threats. Shouting angrily will not help in coaxing them out.
You, in the cellar, do come out. We don't want Luke waking up and finding you in there, do we? That man would go ballistic thinking someone was trying to steal his precious wine.
Still nothing.
You can have a good cry. Just not in there, yes? Why don't you come out here and we can have a cuppa and you can tell me all about whatever it is you're bawling about?
With how long I am standing here, however, I am starting to think myself as a fool. I did not want to acknowledge the other feeling I have, especially as the wailing took an eerie turn. The thought of being played with didn't sit too well with me, and I had to stop myself from getting too hot-headed as I try one more time.
Now you come out of there! That is an order from the lady of the house, do you hear me?
Oh my god.
Why, I ought to.
I freeze as a hand clamps down on my shoulder. The dread I've been feeling all this time makes itself known as I kneel unmoving, not even daring to breathe. I can feel my heart pounding against my chest, but the touch is gone as quickly as it had seized me. Oh my god, Johannes. It is only Johannes I see when I look back.
Apologies, madam, for touching you like that. You were not responding to my voice, and you looked about ready to wake the whole mansion up.
Oh my god, Johannes. Oh, you saved me, I think.
I'm sorry. I was getting rather loud, wasn't I? But that crying woman in there, we must do something about her.
He grows silent for a moment and just looks concerned. At least, I'd like to interpret it as a concern, given how stoic our head butler usually is. Or rather, it must have been concern as he takes off a glove and presses the back of his hand at my forehead before his worrisome inquiry.
I beg your pardon. What crying woman? Are you feeling well, madam?
In the cellar. Can't you hear her?
Madam Hannah, no one is down there.
What?
Yikes.
The cellar is locked. Only Luke and I have duplicates of the keys. Nobody is down there.
That is so freaky. Oh my god, if this were me in this situation, I would be like out of the house. I would be running because I would be so fucking scared. Oh hell no. I stare at him in disbelief. But when I listen once more, I hear no crying. Tugging at the hatch for good measure prove his words to be true too. The thing won't budge unless I had a key, short of using power tools on it.
Perhaps it is time for you to go to bed, madam. You are simply tired and hearing things, a perfectly normal human experience. But if you are still experiencing auditory hallucinations in the morning, you are free to consult with me.
There is a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach as he helps me up to my feet. What he says makes sense, and who am I to question someone who used to be a doctor? Oh, he used to be a doctor. That's cool. I am just tired, that's it. Long day of moving, the interview, dealing with Luke, that has all drained me of any proper sense.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I just need some sleep, that's all.
Of course I'm right. Go on then. Gute Nacht.
Good night, Johannes. Good night, house.
So I'm guessing Johannes is like German. Mansion bedroom evening. It's just fatigue. That's what I keep telling myself, although I can't ignore the strange feeling in my gut. Either there is something wrong with this house, or there is something wrong with my head. Sleep will be elusive tonight. October 28th, Friday. Luke is already gone by the time I rise. There isn't a single hide nor hair of him to be found, and trying to call him on his mobile is a bust, as it only goes straight to his voicemail. That's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today, of all days, is every bit upsetting because of what's to come. What's coming? The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I am much more refreshed as I took a break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Today is going to be a busy day, although unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now, absent once again from his duties. Hopefully, he'll be back in time for the party. Oh, okay, so today is their, housewarming party? This is our house, after all. A grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wright mansion. Every person of importance from Luxbourne is invited, and there will be a few guests flying in as well. Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances who are made no less important, regardless of their status in society. Oh, well, that's cool. Marianne and I discussed business and last-minute touches to the house before finalizing everything. Not that there is much change from our original plans. Bar any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical. In the end, he had acquiesced. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. I even bought this wonderful wooden crib from the antique store yesterday, including some toys. Just in case anyone brings their baby, of course. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have guests who spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for their visit on one of our hotels instead, always at Luke's own insistence. And on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedroom in the opposite wing is still up to the task.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
No, I did not agree to him having a helipad.
All right, then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around, then? It'd be best if we can note down his request right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Around? No. Hold on, wait a second. I just kind of want to see what day. Oh, okay, so the 24th. Okay, so the 24th is when Isabella's chapter ended and she was at the office hiding underneath her desk. So we're all the way on the 26th, which is 2 days after the fact. So I'm kind of curious as to why the Wrights aren't even talking about how Rose got killed or anything like that. Where is he? Who knows where? I don't.
No, he's not around.
She didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? After 7 long years, I've already gotten used to him. I should be by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain, to whinge about how unfair this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry is simply taboo among high society. To do so will make you a ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures, the lot of them, really. Or most of them, at least. There are always good ones like Rochelle Lee. But put your trust in the wrong person, and you'll find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting. He's having marital problems, and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Perhaps I am being a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed in divulging details. But I thought myself clever, with the plan to dress it up as gossip. Marianne's raised brow makes me unsure whether she is interested or not. Although that does make things better if she has no interest and, therefore, has no hidden intent to utilize whatever I might say to her.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
Do I want her to be honest? Be honest with me.
Be honest with me, Marianne. I don't
Achievement
need
unlocked.
someone to
Real
sugarcoat
talk.
it.
And relationship? Okay, she liked that.
I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I stare into my own cup of tea. The silence stretches on, and I almost believe that she will never answer my question. I suppose that I shouldn't blame her, putting her in a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though I loathe to admit it. She simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. But then, she speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
Yeah, it's my turn to hesitate now. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. And to get to the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not as clever as I'd like to think. Or is it really that bad that an outsider can see our little marital troubles? Surely we aren't that obvious, are we? We've put up the act of a perfect couple for years, although it hadn't always been an act. Marianne is just more keen than the average person, of course. It is a necessity to her career, and she's been working so closely with us. Yes, that's it.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But, if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Someone who won't even give him the time of the day. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
Yeah, I can see that, but at the same time, when you've been in like a 7-year-long relationship, it's kind of hard just to be like, well, you know, I'm just gonna like leave you or take a break from you. You know, it's a lot more complicated than that.
So you're saying they should divorce?
I don't think nothing as big as a divorce.
Nothing as drastic as that.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say.
If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives. But it's just a short hiatus is all.
I mean, I guess, you know, taking a little break wouldn't hurt anybody, but, you know, it still is complicated when, you know, you've been in a relationship for that long, so.
Or, you know, couples therapy?
Yeah, therapy would work.
Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
She trails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There is a calm despite the nature of what has just been discussed. To say that her words make me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this might just be the calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated their choral anniversary before they passed away. But 7 years? 7 years isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what and where our relationship can bring us. And at the same time, 7 years, well, it hasn't been entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever. It's not supposed to anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread the thought that these small spats, these little disagreements, will turn into an all-out resentment. The idea that we will grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment when our blissful union turns sour. We can get through this, right? I know that I still do love him. I feel that there is still a part of him that loves me in return. We just need to get our heads together and talk it out. Surely he will see some sense. There is a cough before Marianne clears her throat. I must have been quiet for so long, and I move to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure of how to proceed. Some sort of odd, awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back down or not. You're like walking up to a person, then you guys don't know which way to go, and you guys are like just dancing there. It's so awkward.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
I'll try to stay and chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
The scene outside the parlor is a great organized mess. Okay, let's check our journal. The 28th. Hannah and Marianne were seen discussing the mansion's finishing touches before the housewarming party. On a whim, Hannah asked for Marianne's opinion about a certain couple having marital problems. It leaves the former with something to think about after the latter accused herself from attending the party. Aside from our own household help, we hired the service of the temp agency, which provides staff for Wright Enterprise in the hospitality sector. Even our very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on their own. Waiters, busboys, hostesses, and their staff captains move about in droves, carrying crockery and serveware good for several dozen people and then some. Chefs and bartenders tail after Johannes, looking like scared little children as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. One thing though, isn't this like a really horrible idea to be inviting all these guests to the mansion? I mean, Isabella just realized that everyone that was working on the mansion disappeared, so it's I don't know if this is a great idea. To peruse the stocks, to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
Schnell! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails. Snails are for the dishes.
A string quartet readies up to play for the evening, turning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floral decor where thousands fill vases, wreaths, and baskets, while petals are scattered along the driveway up front. An ice sculpture of a reindeer is brought in carefully by a pair. Aw, that's cute. Ooh, the cake looks delicious. It is followed by a simple cake, just a 5-tier white chiffon one with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and a light dusting of edible gold leaf. But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I will attend to all of this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running in my mind, and looking at all of this, I can only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for the party. I had wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering, with only a select few invited, namely the people who I would actually trust to enter my home. I did not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here. no matter how used I am to catering them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
The entire thing screamed Luke Wright. And I can't help but add another question to my growing list of queries. When did I lose myself? It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman who made her own name, her own career, and her own decisions. Sure, I was already the social butterfly that I still am today, but it wasn't all empty, shallow gossip, and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Finance manager wasn't just handed to me just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money and accounts, analyzing the competition and market trends. There was the calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor liaison and public relations, supervision of staff, and, well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker even back then, having dedicated most of my youth craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to others, looked for praise from anyone who would give it, however fleeting it all was. And Luke, oh Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took a genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans, with both my faults and my achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights, before we were married, where we talked about everything and anything. From big things like business, society, and philosophy to little things such as what we had for breakfast or whether we like cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that husbands preferred wives who are docile and subordinate. A woman who will always be there for him, yet would never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be at home and attend to his needs, to have children, and to take care of them in his absence. They said I have no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society, but I listened. Before I can fall further into this introspective pit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors, then. We mustn't hurry.
Cars line up in the driveway, peppering the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand tours, supercars, even the odd high-end muscle car or two, convertibles, grand saloons, and other luxury cars can be seen being parked by valets. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it's too troublesome to bring their own cars. There are at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxbourne. So far. Who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays?
Welcome everyone. Please make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm, if not strange sunshine we're experiencing before gloomy skies inevitably return. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here, whether through convenience or necessity. However, there are also a few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society. Such as that young man with his oriental air, ignorant of the looks he receives from women and men alike.
Be careful with Shirley, all right?
Man from the Orient. Or that rose-haired woman talking on her phone while she looks unsure of why she is here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom.
Rosy-haired girl.
Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few of the other media crew with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. Yeah, and the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
I mean, I know why Zach is here, but why is Becca and Ash here? Kind of curious. I had invited Father Norman, too. It's the least I can do after he blessed the mansion on my request. Aside from my small donation to the church, of course. Ooh, so they blessed the house? I don't think that's a good thing. I mean, she's still showing up, so it's like, I don't think that was a great idea that she blessed the house. It might make things worse. But the poor man had taken ill and went through a nervous breakdown of some sort the other day. Yikes. And then there are people like the chief inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see?
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again?
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. Bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies. It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal, you've hidden his body.
What? What's happening? Is Luke missing?
I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches. Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead. The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. I could use a glass of wine or 3, actually. Rochelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out.
Jeez.
Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Still no plans for a baby? Well, I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
How rude. Have I mentioned how I don't trust him, no matter how hard I try to do so? At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have short conversations or merely shake hands and nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour passes us by, the rest of the stragglers and I adorn to the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to now. Dude, I love this music for this scene. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, no matter how big or how small it is. You make sure your guests are well fed, have good company, and have them generally enjoy themselves. So when my opening remarks are done, when the band has started to play and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly unless I am pulled aside. For a while, I stay with a small group and entertain them before excusing myself. And when they're not anymore watching me, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. A local banker is having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more than to make music. One of our hotel managers worry about the stolen belongings of one of his patrons, a failing in security which should be brought up to higher authority soon. Our mayor, well, his cat died. Aw. Then there is that rose-haired woman once again. It is hard not to notice her with her distinctive locks. She also lacks the grace that the other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful. Her stance and the air she exudes, instead, are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men had already given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approach, intrigued, although it is no great mystery what occupies her own attention, with the glances she keeps sending towards the boy with the oriental hair. She remains unaware, though, even as I stand beside her, pretending I am there for a drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up. Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, and it is a wonder he doesn't hear what I say.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend then? Because that would explain those rejections.
In all my life, I have never seen a face grow red so fast. The shade of her hair did not help as well. This is the most pink I've seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
Oh, Rebecca's so embarrassed. This is the first time we're able to see her sprite. It's so cute.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact. Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
It's more the latter, currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property. I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
I waver as I feel the burning of someone's stares. It is chilling, and though I am used to enduring the gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Oh my god. Dude, she is so freaking scary. Her eyes are like twitching and stuff. I don't like that. My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see a woman staring. Dark-haired and dirty, she looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have half the mind to call the security at her when her mouth breaks out into a grin. All I hear is her laughing, taunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I am nothing but a pig to slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hand shake and I nearly drop my drink. But then, in a blink, she's gone, and the buzz of the party returns.
I'll keep that in mind, but... Are you alright?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light.
Okay, I would not be saying it's the trick of the light. I'd be like, dude, there was some, like, homeless woman standing behind you, you know, staring and smiling at me, very creepy. I do not like that at all. Hell no.
Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
Achievement unlocked. Reunion. The name is familiar like a fond memory. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She'd even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stovies, which I honestly hadn't been too keen about, though I ate them nonetheless because she brought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
Oh, so she knows Rebecca.
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way. But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you! You were the cutest little thing with glasses! And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A.
Let me guess. Who could it be?
What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
The more I list off names, the more red and the more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I have triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely, I hadn't been mean when she visited with her mother? I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone with an earshot, you know? Keep it down.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
And a tad bit sad.
So, this is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right?
But Becca, you aren't really doing that. You're kind of just like letting Isabella and Ash fall for each other while they're just sitting on the sidelines. So I don't really think she's doing what she's preaching right now, you know?
You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it. But what do I know?
There is a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall correctly.
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what, 20 years?
17, actually.
Jesus Christ, girl, you need to get on that.
But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense. I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
Well, that won't do. What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway. There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans. It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then. I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my... crush.
I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress or the pink blouse and petticoat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. It feels ridiculous remembering all of that years later, talking about boys and how they go crazy for pretty girls, as if it's some gospel every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to say such things then, with me not knowing any better. Though, looking at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Perhaps I did say something good at that time, enough for her to take it at heart. But all that didn't matter in the moments as I mull over what she's just said in my head. What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne told me. There is no time to ponder over that, however, as a hush descends upon the once lively crowd. The music of strings and the chatter slows to a grinding halt as the doors from the foyer opens. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago, and anyone else this late would simply be too embarrassed to show their face. So this can only be one person, or rather, one man. There is only one man who is audacious enough to arrive at his own party so late.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party?
Well, I'm glad he's not missing or dead, because what Chief Inspector Lee was saying was kind of strange.
I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
Unlike I, who was raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to its presence, he sought it out every chance he could, even when there was no spotlight that shone. And I'll never put it against him when he smiles like that. He did so quite brilliantly under the scrutiny when he channels his showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks, how they listen, enraptured, even if all he's doing is a simple greeting. A little wave of his hand here, a little smile there, and a bit of swagger. I always tell him that, if he is not to be a businessman, he'll do well as an entertainer. I love the sight of him, especially when he looks at me and beckons me over to humbly share his place. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side and I make my way to Luke's.
Welcome one and all to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
There is a round of applause, cheers, and even some hoots. Guests approach us left and right to shake Luke's hand and greet him personally, praises on their lips. It is because of this that I do not see her. I do not see her until she is dangerously close, with fury in her eyes, and she's already spitting venom. Huh? Johannes restrains her, taking care not to unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman. Okay, the Wright Mansion officially opened its doors with a grand housewarming feast. Zachary Steele, Ashton Frey, and Rebecca Gales were seen attending. However, what was supposed to be a day of merriment turned sour when Rochelle Lee, the chief inspector's wife, accused Luke Wright of fathering her unborn baby? What? But that does little to deter her rage, and the man has no choice but to let her go, lest an unborn child is hurt. Although it might be too late for that, as I see an emptied glass of wine in her hand. How much is she embedded in?
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle? Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here!
You mutter? What is that? Oh my god, hold on. I guess it means like an unattractive person. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments. I'd appreciate it.
You bloody bastard, standing there with your smarmy smile!
She interrupts me, jabbing her finger in my direction before she rounds on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break among the guests, all I can focus on is the heat of the moment. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol on her breath. I'm not ticked off about this little display of hers, at least not yet. But I am absolutely pissed by the fact that she'd endanger her own baby by drinking. There is a considerable amount of restraint and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her tantrum to subside. I keep a patient, if tight, smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indecipherable.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
I did.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir. What is even going on?
I'm just about to ask that exact same thing.
I don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass! You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens!
Excuse me. What is this nonsense you're going on about?
Crazy talk. That's all it is. Just completely and utterly mad. Has anyone seen the Chief Inspector?
I am pregnant with your little bastard. You promised me you'll take responsibility.
Dude, is Luke really cheating on Hannah? I mean, is that what's happening here?
God damn it, Luke. I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me.
What?
What do you mean you're pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Johans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me. I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours. Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby? Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
This woman's rude. It is now that Johannes returns with security, along with the concerned-looking Officer Lee. They surround her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by his pale face, he has heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man.
I'm so sorry for her behavior. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol. Talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing here but the ramblings of a drunk? Yes, that's right. There's no way that what Rochelle says is the truth. What she says doesn't match up. I know Luke. If such a scandalous meeting are to be arranged, he won't do it in such an exposed place, especially not near his precious flowers. And he definitely won't promise responsibility over a child unless it can be helped. Besides, Luke will never go as far as to sleep with another woman, right? Okay, fine. Who am I kidding? If I am to be completely honest with myself, he might cheat. With a bit of temptation and a bit of alcohol, he just might. And doesn't that just make my blood boil to even think of the slightest possibility of infidelity? Lee isn't too far off when he told me how Luke still acted like some young hotshot bachelor. It starts to make me think. Okay, let's just save here. Well, in my opinion, people make mistakes. If Luke did do it, I mean, like I said, when you're 7 years in a relationship, it's really hard to just, let things go so quickly like this. So, I don't know. I think because of the certain situations that are happening within the game, it might cause Luke to change. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people should be given a second chance. So let's just say I need to work for my happy ending, right? Achievement unlocked. It takes 2 to tango. Becky's words are still fresh in my mind. Alright, we're still positive with Luke. I just really hope he didn't do it. I really hope she was just lying. I don't know. And I can't help to think that the girl, plucky woman that she is, has a point. If I love Luke, I have to fight for him, don't I? So far, I've been doing nothing and sitting on my behind, hoping it will fix itself. This whole mess definitely isn't going to fix itself. How dare that woman try to drag our name and our relationship through the mud with her lies? And at my own party. Determination fires me up as I take a step forward into the middle of the fray. All of the while, she has been screaming. I signal for security to stop, and I can already feel the glower on my face as I stare into hers. She wilts as soon as she sees me. She starts to grow anxious and her protests die down. I can see her haughty, angry expression turn into a horrified realization. Rightfully so, she should be scared. What is that thing they say again? Never wake a sleeping dragon? They often think that Luke is the one in charge, that he is the one to be feared and appeased. They think me as only the pretty wife. They forget that I am just as capable, just as worthy of respect.
I invite you, my friend, into my house on a day of merriment, and you insult my name and accuse my husband of infidelity. What have I ever done to make you treat us with such disrespect? You are no longer welcome in any of our estates, our properties, and our businesses, and we will no longer patronize yours.
Whoa.
Now, escort the girl and make sure she isn't standing even an inch within our grounds.
Damn, Hannah. She looks devastated. Reasonable. This does make her into a pariah, doesn't it? I should feel concerned, but I can't find even an inkling of mercy within me. I don't know what her plan was. I don't know what she wanted to make out of this. The money? Luke? It doesn't matter what she wanted.
You won't show your face to me ever again if you know what is good for you, Rochelle. Take her away.
And that's kind of fucked up because like Hannah was like, oh, we should make a children's room. Rochelle's gonna have a baby and she can, bring her baby over and stuff. And she's saying that like Luke slept with her, that's his baby. And I mean, I don't know if it's true or not. I mean, maybe when we get to Luke's chapter we can find out, but I don't know, it just seems so crazy. The tension is thick in the air, and the silence that embraces the room is so set that one can practically hear a pin drop. There are worried and almost fearful glances from some of the guests, but they all know that this is well within my right. She is the one who started this whole dilemma. It just so happens that I'm the one ending it. As long as everyone holds their tongues and don't interfere, none of the consequences matter to me. Especially when my darling looks at me with a different shine in his eyes. It almost seems as if he's proud of what I've done, and that spurs me on more than anything. Nonetheless, I still act upset, because this does not change what just happened. He still has a lot to answer to. Because even if the woman is lying, there is always an inkling of truth in every lie. That is true. So when I turn on him, to say that the shock he displays brings me gratification is an understatement. Of course, there is no reason to make a husband and wife spat into a public spectacle. Some privacy will generate the least number of headaches and complications. Everyone is still far too busy in the ballroom, and most of the staff are still in the kitchen. A sharp glance at anyone who will go through the doors is all it takes to make them retreat. Mention foyer. And the most private we can get without me dragging Luke all the way to our bedroom is the foyer.
And you. We are going to talk about this, Lucille Mitchell-Wright. Not now, but we will talk about this.
Right! I swear that is not my child, no matter what that woman says. Hannah, darling, you believe me, don't you?
I believe that it isn't your child. But you never said that you did not cheat on me with her. We'll have a talk about that tomorrow, among other things.
What for? What other things?
About us, Luke. This isn't right, this doubting each other and not talking. That's why we'll talk. If anyone needs me, I'll be in our room. I'm in no mood to be talking with anyone about anything, especially nosy baggers who have no business with any of it.
Should I be worried? Scared? Because you know threats do not work with me, Hannah.
Dude, we're giving you a chance here. You need to chill out, brah. Jeez.
None of those. You should know I'm not your enemy, Luke. I need rest. That's all.
Of course, you must be so tired. You've earned some peace. I'll take over the party from here.
Good night, love.
Good night, Buttercup.
Sometimes I forget that leaving Luke to handle a party is a horrible idea. October 29th, Saturday. Wow. We're getting so far in the timeline with her. Because, come morning, the dining hall is a mess with a few of his drunk friends sleeping about. In the aftermath of Rochelle's accusations, Hannah banned her former friend from setting foot in any of their properties. She was then seen dragging her husband all the way to the mansion's foyer in order to set things straight with him. Wow, I can't believe that. At least a dozen men and women are scattered about, sleeping like they are in alcohol-induced comas. Even Officer Lee is there, sleeping off the effects and still clutching a bottle of 1998 Jamila. No doubt, Luke has served some of his stories and absinthe. Judging by the faint burnt smell, they had set fire to the latter too. Noé Bohemian. There is only so much I can tolerate, as we have Johannes retrieve every single one and get them a cab. And they are everywhere. At the table, on it and underneath it, and some are even in the kitchen.
Nap time is over, Kinder. Time to go.
Damn, we had a raging party, man. Jeez. And, oh dear, does this piss our valet, though he is still a man of silent fury. Although it is a little treat to hear him utter curses in German from the other room. I imagine Luke will be amused as well, if it isn't his guests that are being thrown out. Instead, he's brooding in his seat, rolling a stalk of daffodil in between his fingers.
He's energetic, and you aren't drunk. That, or you are getting better with handling your hangovers without your dog hairs. Should I be looking out the window to see if the sky has turned red and if pigs have started to fly?
I am unfortunately completely sober, Hannah.
And how does it feel not being hungover?
Still miserable.
It'll get better.
Or so they say. You wanted to talk about something?
You know, for once, I wish you were hungover. Maybe this isn't the best time for this talk.
No, please. I do not like loose ends. And this is a bloody ugly loose end.
Then, first things first, I want you to be honest with me, just between the two of us. Without others to impress, without people listening in. Just you and me.
Did you or did you not sleep with Rochelle Lee and got her pregnant?
I didn't get her pregnant. But the thought of having a child with her? Can you just imagine it? Or rather, don't. I can already see it. It'll look like that ruddy pig boy from that Young Wizard book.
From Harry Potter?
I don't care about once upon a time. What I'm asking is if you were with her the other night during my party.
Him not showing up in the most of gatherings I've hosted in the past is nothing new, of course. The ones I've had last week is no different. It's merely another thing I've gotten used to between us after things turned sour. But after Rochelle's outburst last night, I won't deny feeling the disappointment. The betrayal. What's done is done, however, though at the very least, I still want to hear the truth from him.
She made me meet with her the night of your party. But I swear, I only agreed to go so that I could tell her I wasn't having none of it. It isn't my baby. I don't even think it's Lee's. Poor bloke. I mean, I probably slept with her once.
Wow. What, Luke? Oh my god, bro. No. Oh my god, why?
We were probably incredibly drunk, but that would have been a long time ago before she was preggo.
Are you sure, Luke?
I hope this isn't like a reoccurring thing with Luke. Like, that's just so horrible. Like, I know I said, like, I'd give him another chance, but it's like, if you're just gonna keep doing it, though, I don't know, man.
You're not making anything up or leaving anything out?
Of course not. I swear it on my mother's grave.
He swears it, he says, as he hands me the flower with such tenderness. And I believe him.
Well, if that's all you wanted to talk about, you shouldn't have made me worry.
For the sake of my sanity and for the sake of our marriage, I'll pretend that you never said any of that. Are you sure you aren't drunk now?
Haven't had a single drop and hating it.
Would you like something to drink? Because I'm not done. I have something else to tell you.
No thanks, maybe I will after this little talk you wanted to have. I already told you, and you already said you believe me that the brat isn't my child. I already spilled that I might have had drunken sex with her once, and you wish to wipe that off your memory. So do we have anything else to talk about? Because have at it. I'm all ears.
You're pretty miffed for someone who just admitted to his wife that he's cheated.
And you're stalling. I can tell that incident has you shaken up. So why don't you just spit it out and get this all over with?
I'm pregnant.
Hannah, what? Oh, okay, that makes so much sense why she was sick in the beginning.
What? Come again?
You heard me.
You've got to be kidding, right?
So, like, Luke has to change for the better, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, but... Oh my god, they gotta get out of here. You know, so she can have her child. Like, what's gonna happen if they're in the mansion? She's pregnant and all that.
This must be some kind of joke. Are you taking the piss at me? Because, woman, I don't need a second fake pregnancy.
Instead of answering, however, I stay silent and let the matter of the fact sink into his head. Oh, his face heats up for a moment before he goes pale. He raises a hand in the hopes of asking for a drink, but the morning staff are still busy evicting the last of his inebriated companions. And he doesn't even bother to bark out orders, as if he'd lost his very voice. Actually, he looks like he's on the verge of hyperventilating.
This is Anna, darling. I need some air. How long have you been?
3 months. And the twins. Although we don't know yet if they're a boy or a girl or...
Oh, that explains the picture. Hold on, I gotta find it. Where is it? Right here. Oh, that's so cute.
Or both.
Good God! Twins! I'm going to be a father to 2 tiny babies. Breathe, Luke! Breathe!
Goodness, Luke, I'm the one who's pregnant here, not you.
No, don't touch me! Stay away!
What? A scream cuts off my amusement, and without thinking, Luke and I rush into the foyer. There stands a crazed-looking chief inspector, trashing about as he tries to make it up the stairs while Johannes holds him back. What's happening? Hannah confronted Luke regarding last night's drama. He confessed he slept with Rochelle, but insisted he's not the father of her child. Accepting his apology, Hannah then informed him she's 3 months pregnant. Their talk was interrupted when a crazed Officer Lee refused to leave the mansion, screaming about a helping crying woman.
What is going on here?
Und tschüss. All the Schweinehunde must leave, including you, Chef Inspector. This one is very problematic and will not leave.
No, you can't make me leave. I need to stay here for her. I need to help her.
Oh, Rochelle? She's probably already at home, dearie. Or she might have already gone and skipped town. Who knows?
Oh, for the love of... There's no point talking logic in him. Lee, go home. You're drunk.
Can't you hear her crying? She was crying, just weeping and in so much pain last night.
I told you it was not a good idea to invite these people to the mansion.
I couldn't help her. Drunk, sobbing bastard that I am. But my help. She needs my help. Tell your fucking stupid lapdog to let go of me, Luke! Or I'm gonna knock him down and I'm gonna knock the 2 of you down too!
Language! I've already dealt with your wife, so don't make me deal with you, Lee. Or I swear I'll...
Hana, enough. Don't stress yourself over him. It'll be bad for the twins. So go back to your breakfast and let me handle this, okay?
Are you sure?
Why wouldn't I be? Now, go ahead and do something less stressful.
Go ahead. We're in the mansion kitchen in the morning. And do nothing. There isn't much to do, it seems, whenever I step up to the plate and try to take responsibility for something. Perhaps because everything is already being handled by someone hired specifically for that job? And with Johannes overseeing the staff and Luke handling everything else as a whole, that doesn't leave much for me. I can't even take the job of delegation because all it takes is a word to one of the senior staff and everything will be taken care of for me. Moving in here a few days ago may have very well been the core that took the most effort from me. And that didn't take any real effort at all.
Yes, Hana, go buy a mansion in the middle of nowhere. Good idea. Great plan.
There are no dishes to set aside and busy myself with. Any mess left behind is now nearly non-existent. To sit on a counter while eating cake is supposed to be my next plan. Alas, there isn't even one to finish off, and I don't really know what brought me to the kitchens in the first place. It's not like I'm craving anything else, nor do I have any unfinished business left here. But there's a calling to this room. Speaking of calling, why not do just that? Might as well, since I have nothing else to do. At least that will require some effort on my part. With how cut off from the rest of Luxborn the mansion is, and with how long it was abandoned before we moved in, having a landline is out of the question. The solution's supposed to be our mobiles, though it isn't much considering how spotty the signal is in the area. It'll take a bit of maneuvering to get even a single bar as it is. It takes a bit, as I said it would. I have to park my rear on one of the cold drawers, but that suits me just fine. Another matter that needs my effort is who to call. She who must not be named is certainly off the list. That doesn't leave much in the category of close friends who attended the party, along with the category of who else is awake at this early hour. But soon enough, I manage and the call goes through.
Hello, Rebecca Gales here. Who's this?
Good morning, Becky.
Hannah? Oh, wait, how did you get my number?
You responded to your RSVP through the phone. It's all saved in here, of course. I thought I'd like to say hi and make plans and get together sometime. Also, I'd love to hear news about your mother and father and about you, my dear. Oh, I hope I didn't wake you up.
Oh, you're good. It's sports day at school today, so I was just prepping for that.
Figures that you'd be a teacher as well. I'm sure your students must absolutely adore you.
Don't know about that.
Mathematics?
History, actually. Anyway, it's real nice to know you've got my number. I was going to ask for yours because Mom wanted to keep in touch.
You could have asked, silly girl. I would have gladly given it to you.
Couldn't, though, because, well, the thing that happened. But really am sorry, though. I gotta run. School, schedule, stuff. Is there anything else you want to say? Don't want to use the mobile while driving.
Oh, of course, of course. I shouldn't keep you. But I wanted to thank you for your company yesterday.
Not a problem.
And for that other thing as well.
What for now?
For what you said to me, with what had happened. It's been very helpful in...
The call starts to go static, much to my frustration. A strange clicking noise drowns out most of her words, too. I doubt she can understand what I'm saying. And the line completely dies. I can feel a headache coming along. It's just building up, starting from a light throbbing on one side of my head. Ooh, maybe because the ghost girl was hanging around her neck. Maybe she's been like clinging onto Hannah this whole time. Yikes. The static is gone, and that helps a lot. But there is still that incessant, horrible clicking. Again and again and again. Which doesn't make sense. The mobile's turned off, isn't it? And if it isn't coming from the phone, then where? Looking about, I can't help but let my eyes be drawn to the hatch leading into the wine cellar once more. That's when the clicking stops and I can hear that crying, that familiar crying from before. Hannah called Rebecca Gales, hoping to catch up with an old friend. The talk got interrupted by a horrible clicking and the cry of the woman from the wine cellar. I don't want to open that wine cellar, dude. What happened the other day when I was told that nobody should have been down there? I tried to forget it because of how it unsettled me so. One can hardly do that when I'm looking at the very thing I'm trying to forget. Somebody is crying down there again. But if I leave it alone, it simply won't stop bothering me for the rest of the day. They might have forgotten to lock it with the party going on.
This again! If somebody is pulling my leg, I will not be happy.
Oh! No! Hannah, please! True enough, all it takes is a bit of a pull to open the hatch. Where the hell are we on the branching tree? Oh my god. Dude, are we gonna die? I don't know. Oh, shit. As I look down to the cellar, a sense of uneasiness washes over me. It isn't just a sudden onset of vertigo and nausea, but also the darkness. It's suffocating. And as I look down, it feels as it's looking back at me. I worry that something will suddenly pull me into the deep. The cries drown beneath the shrieks that start echoing in my head, high and shrill, like nails being dragged across a chalkboard. They're all screaming, shouting at me, and I can just feel her rage. Help me. She wants to drown me, drag me down, and crush me into the very depths of darkness until there is nothing left of me. The deep abyss waits for me, for my death. They're all calling for it. This is a nightmare. There's a rope around my neck and I can feel the rest of me being torn apart. And they're still screaming. I'm screaming. Though it's not my voice that escapes my lips. It claws through, climbing up and forcing its way up my throat like a putrid bile. I choke and gag, yet I scream and shriek all at the same time. And I'm me, but not me. Dude, is she trying to possess me? What? Oh my god, Hannah! It pushes me down to my knees before I'm prone and vulnerable on my stomach. It makes me tumble, and I can just feel my whole body seizing, writhing on the floor. Everything and nothing hurts. It feels like I'm on the verge of death. And if I'm not dying, I nearly wish I actually am.
Hannah, what is going on in there?
Why are you?
Prince!
Prince? What? Oh my god. Seeing Luke, something snaps back, and I'm able to take a gasp of air on my own violation for the first time in what felt like centuries. I would have rejoiced and cried for his name if the pain still did not rack my body. Why did she call him Prince? That was so weird. Achievement unlocked in safe hands. Instead, all I can do is stare listlessly as he comes to my side and lifts me up, cradling me in his arms. He tries to get me to my feet, perhaps to take me out of here. But all he's able to do is get me to sit, make sure I'm not thrashing on the floor. I can still feel my muscles spasm, limbs jerking like a puppet's on a string. Luke holds me tight and keeps me still so that I do not hurt myself anymore. Whatever it is that happened, it has my mind feeling frayed and battered. Eventually, the pain dies down into a dull ache, and my own tongue stops feeling like cotton. Would she have a seizure or something? It's only now that I can feel the wetness on my cheeks, tears streaking down my face. A coughing racks my body, now that I don't feel like choking. And it just all feels so horrible. But I don't care. I don't care.
Luke, please.
What happened here? Who did this to you?
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Shh, it's all right. You're safe now, Hannah. You're safe now.
Zachary. The pleasant aroma hits me long before I cross the threshold. Alright, so hold on. Before I go back to that, I want... Oh my god, I'm so happy we were able to get past that QTE. I wonder what would have happened if I did not press the right key for that. Ending 3. Wow. So there's 2 different more endings to Hannah's chapter. Wow, we only completed 18% of her chapter. Hers was the shortest so far. And now we're on Zachary's. Let's look at Zachary's branching tree. Whoa. Dang, this is long. Whoa. Oh my god, this is gonna be so crazy. Okay, let's go back and look at his profile. Zachary, Zach Steele. Birth date is March 20th. He's a Pisces and he's 31 years old. Height 6 foot, 183 centimeters. Occupation freelance photographer. Nationality American. Religion agnostic. Education diploma in digital film. Likes pie, photography and filmography, documentaries, cooking, acoustic guitar, and video games. Before his parents' death, he lived in New Jersey where his family owned a diner and bakery. He and his older sister were orphaned due to a hate crime, and they were forced to move to England where their grandparents lived. He had loved cooking and helping out with their old diner, but grew lazy and disinterested after the incident. It did not help that he was one of the few blacks in a predominantly white community at the time. His passion for visual arts was sparked when he found old Polaroids and home movies of his parents. Freelancing helped pay his rent, but the man had long set his sights on the indie film scene. It was during the creation of his first documentary that a robbery occurred and Ashton was there to investigate. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time led to Zachary being placed as a suspect, but the rookie detective helped him clear his name. Wow. Faint, but light and warm, a reminder of what home is. Pa's stern but commending gaze, Ma's tender smiles, the sunlight filtering through the eaves in the morning, and the distinct smell of cinnamon and vanilla as it drifts through the air every time something cooks from the room. The room, our room, Ma and Pa's pride and joy. My sister and I, too, eventually. But we ain't allowed there. Not yet. Not until we're taller or older. Not until we've learned how to take care of ourselves and not burn our hands or reach the cupboards without having to be lifted.
But a little peek wouldn't hurt, yeah?
The floorboards are cold under my feet, more than it usually is. The walls more forbidding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases and Pa...
No, please wait. I'll be good. I'll sleep on time. Don't go.
I can't hear Pa. Not above the raucous clanging and the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. There is only the blinding fear. When my foot slips, the red sea that catches me is bitter and frigid, but the blood that drips in my hand is warm. 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 It ain't my blood. The walls tumble and everything goes quiet. Whoa. So, I read in the journal that something about a hate crime? So what, was his parents, gunned down? It takes a few moments for everything to fall into place, for my eyes to adjust to the relative darkness of the room. Despite the pleasant chill the AC brings, my shirt is clinging tightly to me, and my blanket a tangled mess around my throat. Morning has not even arrived, and yet...
Way too early for this thing, man.
And too long. Too long since the last time I've woken up drenched in my own sweat, head littered with thoughts that are gone as soon as my eyes open. All too often, only imprints and brief images are left to haunt me for the rest of the day, or until my mind forgets about it. Egad, whichever comes first. Yet, vivid or not, what little I can remember does not matter. Regardless, the desperation sticks, clawing up, pushing, urging me to relive every moment, every sensation, and... I'm sorry, but that music's kind of creepy. There's a twinkle in Ma's eyes when she looks up from her work, flour dusting her nose and cheeks. The scent of freshly baked bread wafts from the oven as soon as Pa opens it, and the homely fragrance of honey fills the room. He reaches up to wipe the small beads of sweat away from his forehead before gesturing for me to come closer, the moment he spots me on my little hiding place behind the door. I expected him to be angry, but his pat on my back when I come within his arm's reach is encouraging enough. We'll have to taste these first before we put it up for sale tomorrow. You up for it, little man? Is it good enough? A knock cuts through the air before I can answer. Sharp, heavy, demanding, familiar. So distantly familiar. Ma ushers me into the kitchen when Pa moves to answer it. But I know what waits outside. The taste of blood in my mouth sends an unpleasant churning in my gut. Ma's apron crinkles under my tight grip. Something snaps back into place. My bed remains in utter disarray. The walls still need a new paint job, and the wall clock ticking opposite my bed is as unsettling as ever. Ash is right. I should have already replaced that when I had the chance.
You're no longer there, Zachary. Here and there are miles apart. Calm down. Breathe.
The pressure of my own fingers against my temple is a welcoming sensation over the anxiety gripping me. It never really did anything to stave off the headache sure to follow after this before, but it grounds me. A little reminder that I am safe, away from the place I once called home, from Ma and Pa's... The urgency with each rap that follows finally chases away the ghost threatening to hang around. Why anyone thinks it's a good idea to knock at someone else's door this late confuses me. Nana would chase them all away with a broom if she was here. But no matter, it's a welcoming break from the thoughts about to take a morbid turn if left festering. It's probably just Ash anyway, looking for a place to crash. Wonder of wonders why he's bothering with the courtesy when he never did so before. Even with that hunch, though, habit compels me to check who it is first through the peephole. Better safe than sorry, they say. Except the person that greets me on the other side ain't him. Unless his hair grew longer overnight, and he started wearing a ponytail, of course, which I highly doubt will happen anytime soon, no matter how funny that looks in my head. I waste no time opening the latches.
Isabella, it's late.
Achievement unlocked, a safe haven. Hold on, where are we on the timeline? It doesn't say yet. There's something I can't quite pinpoint in her eyes when she looks up. Her face is a pallid shade, shoulders tense, breathing heavy, and an uncontrollable shaking in her hand she's trying to hold back. Hide, if I didn't know any better.
Hey, Zach. Sorry, I know it's weird for me to show up at this hour, but You are the closest to my office, and...
Wait, so is this when Isabella was at work and she was hiding underneath her desk? Is this after that?
Oh, no. It's perfectly fine. I'm not really working on anything right now. Do you want to come in?
Is it all right? I know you should be sleeping at this hour, but I thought... I'm sorry, I just thought... I have no idea why I went here. My feet just moved on their own after I got out of the office, and... Sorry.
She trails off, her voice lost in the muggy night air. I wait for her to say more, but instead, her only response is a downward shift of her gaze, back to her still trembling hands, as if the motion alone is enough of an explanation. A minuscule gesture. Easy to miss if one's not paying attention. But for someone who has seen the same expression on the mirror, done the same thing too many times when night terrors are inevitable, is it not?
Hey, don't worry about it. At least you not. Ash just barges in and crashes on the couch whenever he feels like it. I swear that guy is one fine hairline away from being a criminal.
Without waiting for her answer, I step away from the door and saunter over to the kitchenette. For a few good seconds, only the clinking of the plates can be heard above the constant tick-tock. Late as it may be for a snack, the familiar motions keep me occupied, steering my mind away from dangerous thoughts. Isabella's company is not unwelcome either. Whatever her reasons for showing up here at such a late hour doesn't matter. I'll be damned if I just turn her away, frazzled as she is. The door clicks shut behind her when she finally enters, feet scuffling softly against the tiled floor. In all the years I've known her, she has never once lost her ever upbeat spirit. Yet, in this particular moment, as she stands in my doorway, holding her arms close to herself, it's as if I'm looking at someone completely withdrawn from the person I've come to know all these years.
Do you want to drink or eat anything? I haven't restocked my food stash yet, so ingredients may be a bit limited. But I'm sure I can whip something up with what I have here.
Just water will do, please. Thanks, Zach.
What? No additional food requests? That's new. I'll put something together for you anyway. Feel free to make yourself at home. You ain't exactly a new visitor here. Although my room's not at its most presentable right now. Sorry. New freelance gigs and such. Didn't have time to fix things up here lately.
It's okay. I don't mind.
Usually, she'd have something more to say about that. A quip, a witty remark to provoke a laughter or two. Nothing from her this time. Only a weak smile before she takes a seat on the couch, and a silence that stretches out until what we left hanging feels disconcerting. Before everything turns stifling and awkward, I continue talking, if only to keep the dead air at bay. How's one supposed to keep a conversation going when the person you're talking to is like this?
Anyway, gigs. Can you believe this one client we got? Boss had all my schedule shoots shifted after they caught wind of this couple buying a new property. Man, must be nice to have all the money in the world. The world itself moves for you, huh?
She's curled up on one side of the couch and hugging her knees close when I bring the tray carrying the sandwiches and the water she requested. She starts to straighten up as I'm unloading the contents, but pauses as soon as I hold up my hand in a halting gesture.
You're a guest. Didn't I say you're free to make yourself at home? Here's your water. Careful.
Aw, Zach's so nice. The tremor in her hands, though lighter now, still hasn't subsided when she reaches out for the glass. I give her a questioning look, but she is quick to avert her eyes, keeping herself occupied by taking small gulps of water. Or maybe she just doesn't want me asking questions? Worrying. This sudden loss for words, this bout of quiet not normally present in our chats. Even the creaking of the old chair when I casually take the seat is a welcome break. Although the company's familiar, this has gone way past unnerving.
What happened? Overtime at work?
She doesn't answer immediately. Another gulp drains her glass of its remaining contents. One would think it'd be enough to help her recover, yet she doesn't lose her taut grip on the glass as she cradles it on her lap. Her eyes take an unfocused gaze when she speaks again.
Yeah. Boss handed me extra work today. After what happened.
Okay, so this is the same day that she went to the office when they had the meeting. So yeah, this is after the ghost.
To Rose.
Rose? Why do I feel like you've mentioned her before? Sorry, I'm better with remembering faces than names.
She was my coworker. That will take some getting used to. I was just talking to her the other day.
Was? Did she resign or something? I think I'm missing a few details here, Bella.
You've never met her. I think I did mention her once or twice. It doesn't matter. You probably heard her name recently from the news than me.
Something clicks then. A little memory from the night before. The bright red light from the dark room, the strong odor of the stop bath, the television's barely audible murmur in the background, and a glimpse of a bloody room. The news is everywhere, even in the morning that follows. I just didn't think its effects would strike someone this close to me.
Oh. Damn. I didn't mean to bring that up.
No, like I said, it'll take some getting used to, but it'll get better. I hope it will. Things might become a little busier for me, though. She left a lot of things unfinished, and I'm one of the few people in the office who knows how she works. Boss thinks the transition will be easier if I handle it.
That explains it. Well, just don't forget you still need rest. Even the most hard-working people I know don't keep hours as late as this. Hell, the subway stopped running hours ago. Crime rate might be lower here than most places, but that doesn't mean you can walk around freely in the middle of the night.
It's just for today.
Still a good thing you dropped by here first. I'm not just about to let you walk out here alone, especially not in the middle of the night. Who knows what else could happen? I'm not saying you should go right now, but I could accompany you home if you...
No! Wait, please!
The vehement tension in her voice makes me pause, and it is in this instant the mask she's been keeping up falls apart, if only for a short while. Right then and there, I understood what's hiding behind her unfocused stare from the moment she arrived. Fear. Pure, unadulterated fear. It's disturbing to see such marring her usual upbeat countenance. With a sigh, I cross the small distance separating us and kneel in front of her. She doesn't flinch when I do so. However, the way she appears to make herself smaller against the couch is telling enough.
Bella, this ain't just about your coworker, is it? What is it really about? I'm all ears.
Ah! God dang it! The sound of glass shattering rents through the air as soon as her hold on it loosens. In the span of a few seconds, her breathing grows labored.
I don't know anymore.
She claps her hand over her ears, pressing it tightly against the sides of her head. Her voice grows weaker with each word, each plea coming out of her mouth.
Please don't leave me alone. I don't want to be alone right now. I can't shake it off. Everywhere's not safe and...
All right, Isabella. Look at me.
My hands are firm on her shoulder when I pull her up to look at me. It takes every force of will to ignore the terror in her eyes in favor of taking control of the situation. Too close. Too similar.
Breathe. You're safe here. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Stay in the present. I'm here. No one's gonna hurt you. Do you want to talk about it?
The force with which she shakes her head is enough reason to drop the topic altogether.
No more. Please. No more. I don't want to remember anymore.
Kate, no more talking. I won't ask anymore. Can I get you anything? Another glass of water? I think I have a tub of that pistachio ice cream you love so much.
Pistachio ice cream. Yum.
We're gonna have to clean this mess first. Will you be fine on your own for a little while?
She nods lightly before retreating into herself again. No more words are exchanged after that, and I take that as my cue to start cleaning the shards littering the floor before either one of us get hurt. The quiet hum of the AC is pleasant distraction as I go over the menial task. more so than her ragged draws of breath or my little feeble attempts to tell a quick story or two. But the latter does the trick, and soon enough she has already drifted off by the time I return with the promised glass of water, her chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm, the strain on her shoulders gone. Frankly, I've never seen her this still. She mumbles something I don't quite catch when I carry her to the empty bed and hugs herself tighter against the mess of blankets. In spite of the fact that she appears relaxed, the small frown on her face hasn't quite disappeared. Whatever happened to her won't be leaving her anytime soon. But for her sake, I hope it won't stay long with her. There are still questions left to be answered. But the late hour, coupled with the sudden exhaustion, made my old couch a more comfortable bed than it typically is. Oh my god, every noise in this game freaks me out. Darkness immediately welcomes me as soon as my head hits my makeshift pillow. Okay, so this is the 25th. Okay, so the 24th, yeah. Okay, so this is right after, like, the morning of. A frightened Isabella Santos knocked at Zachary Steele's apartment in the middle of the night. Shaken, she refused to say what happened. Zachary let her stay regardless. I can only wish the dreams will keep at a distance for now. For both of us. October 25th, Tuesday. Zachary's room in the morning. The first few notes, while muffled, are enough to wake me. In the end, it became one of those nights when sleep passes like a blink and is plagued with vague, fuzzy thoughts. I lift a hand to rub away the drowsiness from my eyes, although it does little to relieve the gritty, burning sensation from my eyelids. Outside, the sun has yet to peek over the horizon, but night has already given way to the cool morning light, washing everything in subtle gray hues. At this hour, the entire city remains unstirring. Ordinarily, waking up before my own alarm means abusing the snooze button twice or thrice just to catch those precious few minutes of extra sleep. But the persistent ringing makes it impossible now.
This better be good.
Groggily, I scramble for the bag sitting at the foot of the bed. The ringing still hasn't stopped, even as I fish the phone out, and Ashton's name flashes brightly on the screen when I turn it on. Must be pretty urgent if he hasn't dropped the call yet.
Took you long enough, Z-Man.
Ashton, it's 6 in the morning. Sun hasn't even risen. Hell, my brain ain't even awake yet. Stop calling me Z-Man.
It's 20 past 6, Zach.
Oh, wow. Okay, Ash. Sorry.
You want to talk? Give me back my 5 extra minutes, Ash. I want my sleep.
Hey, don't make fun of me. I can be a more person too if I want to.
What's this all really about? You don't usually make calls around this hour. Is the world ending today?
Sorry about that. Becca rang me up a few minutes ago looking for Isabella. Said she didn't show up in her own apartment last night. We both tried calling, but her phone seems to be off. Do you have any idea where...
I should have known you two would come looking for her first thing in the morning.
Not a laughing matter, Zach. You can't really let your guard down with everything that's happened here recently. You've heard about the Cooper woman from the news. Everyone in the precinct has been restless ever since the incident the other day.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Listen, Ash, about Bella.
I let my voice trail off, unsure of how to go about recounting last night. If I should even say anything to him. He might be a close friend, but at the end of the day, whatever's bothering her ain't mine to speak of in the first place. On the bed, Isabella remains as still as when I transferred her the night before. Sometime during her sleep, she pulls up a blanket over herself and tucked into it comfortably. Like this, it's easy to forget the horror in her eyes, or how much her hands and lips trembled. Save for her firm grip on the edge of the covers, she appears nearly as normal as she would any other day. Almost.
I'm not really sure how to go about this while being...
Zach, what about her?
Something, the worry, the concern, must have surfaced in my tone because his own shifts then. Carefully, as if he's preparing for the worst.
Look, you don't have to worry about her. She's with me right now. Since last night, in fact.
Oh, why didn't you just say so earlier?
She kinda knocked in the middle of the night. I couldn't possibly wake you two over that. And with how things are when she arrived, I thought it'd be best if I let her rest first. I just wasn't expecting people would be looking for her before the rooster even crows.
You could have at least called her something. Becca's beside herself with worry when she found out. You know how much she frets about the smallest stuff.
I know. I'm sorry. That was a lapse on my part. And I just didn't think... Okay, you know what? Rebecca's worries ain't completely baseless. Isabella hasn't been her usual self since the movie. Maybe even before that. I don't know if I should be opening my mouth about this, but Bella didn't outright say I shouldn't, so...
So something's wrong then?
I'm not quite sure, to be completely honest. I couldn't get the story out of her.
Really? I thought you'd learned something from me by now.
That's not it. Ash, when she appeared at my doorstep last night, she was shaking, and when I tried to ask her about it, she just panicked. Had this frightened look on her face. I'd be surprised if this was the first time I've seen it, but it ain't. Dude, the first time, she was screaming.
First time? When was this? You weren't talking about the thing in the movie house, are you? Because that was just us fooling around. Granted, I think I went overboard with the joke, but...
No, it happened the day after. When she invited us to lunch, you weren't there. We were walking one second, and then the next, she's crying out. I'll be straight with you. That scared me shitless.
It bothered him if the way he fell silent after his telling. But whatever his opinion is stays absent from his voice when he speaks again. He's always been good with that, hiding what he thinks.
Did she say anything else?
Nothing. Won't tell me anything aside from a few vague words. I didn't want to push it.
Where is she? Is she still sleeping?
Right here with me, still sleeping. Should I wake her up or something? Let her know you guys are looking for her?
No need. Let her rest. I'll drop by in a few.
Today? Don't you have work at this time? I mean, I can drop her off home myself before meeting my client later.
Look who's talking.
My schedule's flexible, Ash. Last time I checked, you're the one who didn't have that luxury. How on earth do you think I'm able to tag along when you need me?
It's not completely out of the way.
They live on the other side of the town from you, Ash. Your definition of out of the way is a little screwed up, you know.
It's fine. I have some things I need to do anyway. I'll call you back. I've got to let Becca know that Scaredy Cat's fine. Bye.
He's always calling her Scaredy Cat. He drops the call before I can even get a word in, and for several minutes after, I find myself simply listening as the rest of Luxborn rouses. Okay, come morning, Zachary received a phone call from Ashton, who was looking for Isabella. Zachary informed him that she stayed over and of the circumstances. Before ending the call, Ashton offered to pick her up. The increasing sound of passing traffic, the bustle of the nearby shops preparing for the day, and the growing clamor of the people while they go about their morning. Not the most soothing sounds to hear following a troubled night, but the routine puts me at ease nevertheless. What's comforting, what's safe, what I'm used to. Nearby, Isabella shifts but doesn't wake, blissfully unaware as the city slowly stirs itself back to life. Was her night as restless as the one I had? Were her dreams as lucid? In hushed moments like this, I envy her. Unreasonable, probably a little unfair, to say such in light of last night. If only forgetting is as easy as breathing. A small yawn escapes me when I rise from the couch to stretch. Luckily, the short conversation with Ash has effectively driven away any will to go back to bed. I still have a day to get through despite the proverbial ghost hanging around. The orange bottle sitting at the edge of my table is reassuring against my palm. The instant I pick it up, the sterile odor of the capsules equally so. Yet the weight they carry is something I've never gotten used to. Years ago, I'd spend minutes, heck, even hours staring at a single pill prior to taking one in. Now, it's just routine, a way to starve off the unwanted nightly visits. Although, I don't think Dr. Navarro will be quite pleased if he ever finds out I'm relying on them again. I do owe him a visit regardless, especially after missing our appointments on purpose and ignoring his calls for weeks. Another sigh comes out, tired and weary, and then I pop the tablet into my mouth.
Zach? What time is it?
The bottle on my hand hits the table with more force than necessary. As much as I trust my friends, there are some things I'd rather keep to myself.
Morning, Bella. Did you sleep well?
She answers the question with a long, drawn-out yawn, one reminiscent of a child. A chuckle manages to come out of my mouth at the sight. In this manner, it's easy to mistake her for someone too young for responsibilities. Inexperienced and immature even. Easy to forget she was thrust into the role of an adult earlier than her own dreams can afford, to overlook how surprisingly observant she can be at times. Maybe not on the same level Ash exercises for his investigations or Rebecca needs for her own work. But it's certainly enough to deftly put what she sees around her on canvas. And if the way her eyes flickers to the table in my hand says something, it is that I won't be able to avoid the questions this time.
Only a little. I don't remember how I ended up on the bed, though.
My doing. You didn't look very comfortable sleeping on the couch, all hunched up like that.
It would have been enough for something temporary. Sorry I stole your bed.
It's alright, girl.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Besides, what kind of gentleman would I be if I leave a lady sleeping in such uncomfortable conditions? Not in this house. My nana would give me a tough scolding if I ever did that, I'm telling you.
Thanks a lot, Zach. I know I barged in at a very inconvenient time last night. I wasn't really thinking when I did, and...
Hey, it's cool, Bella. I ain't mad at you. That's what friends do. You guys are welcome here anytime. Although Ashton abuses the anytime part a lot, I don't really mind. We might have less wiggle room if all four of us are present, considering the size of this place. But as long as no one makes anything explode, it's totally fine.
Fine or not, I still owe you one for last night's trouble, especially since you don't seem to be...
A concerned expression passes over her features as she spares another cursory glance over the table, back to the bottle holding every small piece of what keeps the bad memories at bay. The blood blooming over Pa's heart, the horrified look on Ma's face as she watches him fall lifeless to the ground, and every ounce of spite seeping from the stranger's smile. Ugh. You don't belong here. You monkeys don't belong here. It never stops, doesn't it?
Well, you don't seem to be feeling well. Let me know, okay? I'll make it up to you somehow.
She makes a slight gesture with her head towards the bottle. Asking a question without really asking, subtly, has never been one of her greatest assets, but right now, even Ash would have been a little amazed, if not at loss for words at that. She has left it up to me whether I'll give her the response she wants to hear or not. A little clever coming from her, if anyone would ask me. Let's tell her the truth. I mean, why not? I mean, we're friends, right? Maybe, Zach will feel better about it. Oh, she liked that. Cool. But it's never easy, ain't it? Talking about my own problems, that is. It will never be. Not by a long shot. Not when I've left it stay this way for so long. I realized that long ago, when the wounds are still fresh and the dreams are a nightly occurrence. Can't force yourself to get better or move on to better things. It's what's normal now, and I can only cope. The question in her eyes may be unwarranted, born simply out of curiosity and sincere concern for a friend. I don't owe her an explanation, in fact. But of all the people I keep close in my life, she's probably one of the very few who perhaps I can trust with this. Maybe she won't understand entirely. I can never hope she will. No, never to the full extent. That alone is expecting too much of her and giving too much of what I can. However, for all of her shortcomings, I know she'll hear me out. And that is all I can ask of her.
My bad. I was kinda hoping you wouldn't have seen me with these.
The pills rattle lightly against the container when I gently set it back to its usual place. Always the small area closest to my laptop, near the right hand. Within reach whenever, and a quiet reminder of what I shouldn't miss every day.
What? Oh, is it bad? I was just thinking that maybe it's a cold like Becca's. Do you need me to get anything from the store? Soup or something? There's one nearby, right? I can run real quick and...
No, nothing of that sort. I'm perfectly healthy right now. It's really difficult to say, but can you promise me you'll listen at least?
What is this about, Zach?
I should have been upfront with you about this a long time ago. Well, Ashton found out without me telling him anything. But you already know how that guy is. Can't hide anything from him.
If it's something you're having trouble saying, you don't have to force yourself to tell me. I'll forget I ever saw anything and won't ask questions. Promise.
No, I need to get this off my chest eventually. Besides, we're already here. Might as well finish what I started, yeah?
If you say so.
She takes a seat on the couch, her posture easy and open, and her smile honest. As if this is just a simple talk between two friends on a regular day. It is far from one, but her unreserved air is enough to stamp down the twinge of unease that threatens to come up.
Let's hear it then.
Achievement unlocked feels like yesterday. And she does. True to her words, she listens while the story spills out of my mouth of my ma and pa, that little old diner across the pond, and what it left in me that day. I can't recall most of it by now. My own account jagged with a few missing details here and there. The passing years have eroded most of my recollection of the whole incident. All except for that one moment in the kitchen. The ringing of gunshots are as vivid as it sounded that day. Even Ma's hysterical screams the moment Pa's body hits the floor motionless, his lifeblood flowing out from under him. And the gunman, he was smiling. He was smiling when Pa opened the door to welcome him. He was smiling when he put a bullet into Pa's chest and Ma's head. Oh my God! I've heard stories of how the world can be a cruel place for people like us before. I never believed until that moment.
Nan and Gran took us right after that. Sis and I flew straight to New Jersey as soon as they heard the news. A few days after, Ma and Pa were laid to rest. And we have a new home a continent away. I didn't even get the chance to take my favorite pillow with me. They said something about the change of environment will be good for us. They had no idea the different kind of ghosts would follow me here.
I expected questions, mostly those brimming with childlike curiosity, and maybe some that are a little too hard to answer. But to her credit, she just sat there, lent her ears, and looked at me with no expectations or unnecessary judgment in her eyes. She appears wiser and older like this, easier to see the breadwinner in her. Her younger siblings are lucky to have her. When I'm done, after everything's been said, she wraps her arms around me, a bit awkward considering the gap in our heights, but it gets her sentiment across. But it's difficult to answer this in kind, if I'm even supposed to reciprocate the gesture given my earlier apprehension. She pulls away shortly with a smile on her face. Not the reaction I braced myself for. It is obviously better than what I imagined.
Are you not gonna say anything?
Am I supposed to say anything after? Like, apologize or something? I don't think that's very appropriate, but if you want to hear one, I can think of something real quick.
Oh, it's a nice gesture. That's okay, Isabella. You don't need to say anything.
Not really. Other people have something to say after usually. And they're not necessarily nice either.
Aw.
Oh, okay then. I won't. I can't think of something anyway. Sorry, I'm not very good with this. Who else knows, by the way?
My older sister, grandparents, and just Ash and you for now. Maybe I think I should tell Rebecca too, but...
But not right now?
Yeah, not right now. When I'm ready. Like today.
I'm sure she'll be willing to hear you out once you do.
I don't doubt she will. I'm more afraid of how she'll react after. One step at a time, yeah? Whew! Surprisingly, it feels good to get that one out my chest. I was a little afraid you'd be angrier. I didn't tell you earlier than today.
I'm not angry. I'm just surprised. You didn't look like it. I wouldn't have suspected. I suppose that's how it often is, isn't it? We all have our... what's the word Becca uses? Inner demons? But this is something personal to you. I understand why you'd rather have a few people know.
That too. Well, these past few weeks haven't been easy for you. I didn't want to add that. Not after last night.
Something passes in her face, brief, fleeting, and disappears right before I can recognize what it is.
You okay?
Yep, no worries. I'll be fine. Look, about last night... Never mind. This isn't a good time. But don't lose sleep over this, alright? What's important is you got what you want to say out. And if you need me, I'll be here.
I should be relieved. Her words are more than reassuring to my ears. There should be comfort in hearing those alone, and knowing I have another person to rely on if things ever go bad. But somehow, I find myself worrying more for her instead. I'll make another attempt to get the story out of her if I can. But this is a dance I know all too well, and with her, I doubt forcing her to say something would yield any results. As much as I want to imitate Ash, there's only so much I can ask that won't result in something a little over disastrous. At best, she'll stop talking to me until a week passes. At worst, I'd rather not risk it. I've never seen her angry. Outright annoyed, maybe and often directed at Ash, but never furious. What did they say again about happiest people when angered? Besides, it'd be unfair to her after our little chat.
So, food then?
She seems relieved at the brisk change of subject, and as if it had been simply waiting for its cue all this time, her stomach rumbles at the mention of food. Rather loudly, as a matter of fact.
Alrighty, Missy. We're going to get some chow now. Better be quick, though. Can't have your stomach starting a revolution on us here.
Don't make fun of me. I'm not that hungry. Maybe a little. I didn't think I'd end up skipping dinner last night.
And now we have one starved stomach protesting. Sorry, it'll be nothing fancy, since I'm a little low on stocks. I should probably drop by the grocery store after the meeting this afternoon.
I can make a quick run for you if you want.
Nah, I've got enough to put together something nice here. Maybe. I could always improvise if we're missing an ingredient or two. It ain't like we're going for a Michelin 3-star status here. Also, didn't I say you're a guest? Is this a Filipino thing? Or just Rebecca rubbing off on you?
The soft laughter that comes from her doesn't quite reach her eyes. Neither. The answer is neither. Because if she stays idle, she'll remember.
On second thought, I might need a little help slicing up the potatoes while I prep the ham. You up for that?
What? Do you think instant noodles are all I'm about? I'll have you know I can cook a mean paella with my eyes closed. All my siblings love it.
Sure you can. Come on. I think I know what we'll do with those spare ingredients.
Despite the massive effort to keep the mood light with small chatter, cooking ends up being a mostly quiet affair. Okay. Isabella saw Zachary taking an unknown medicine and, concerned, asked what it is for. He admitted he's suffering from a trauma ever since his parents were killed in a hate crime. Isabella could only offer him a comforting hug. To lighten the mood, the two decided to cook breakfast afterwards. Alright guys, I'm going to end this episode right here. Wow, I mean, Hannah's chapter kind of abruptly ended there too after she's dealing with the ghosts. So is every chapter going to be like once they deal with the ghosts, like it just ends? I kind of like this story. It's got me hooked. I've been wanting to play so much lately, so I guess we're gonna have to see what happens with Zach the next time we play. So make sure you share the content. If you're enjoying my playthrough of the letter so far, please leave a like. Let me know down in the comments what you guys thought, and make sure to subscribe and click that bell button so you know when I upload the next episode of the letter. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great night. Bye.